Guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm honored everything. I I am your favorite film content creator, also your favorite comic book content creator as well. And I've been slacking on a few films that have came out this year, and I've been trying to catch up with as many films as possible. It's already May and it's going to be June in a few weeks, and I'm still still excited about Fantastic Four and Superman. The date is getting closer to those films and I'm super hyped. But I finally watched The Woman in the Yard, and before I give my thoughts on the film, the discourse around this film has been very divisive. A lot of people either love it or they hate it. And I wanted to understand the hate for this film because I didn't really understand it. A lot of people were saying that this is a blatant ripoff of The Babadook, but a lot of people that have been trashing this film, let's just say they don't look like me. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. But I watched The Babadook a couple times, and after watching this, the only thing that's similar about the two films is that it tackles mental health and it has a dog in it. And that's pretty much it. That's where the comparison ends because it does not copy any of the story beat by beat. The Babadook is about a demonic demon brought to life from a book that the mother read to her son, while Woman in the Yard is about a woman with with psychological with psychological abilities that that she uses to torment and torture the family. And also the Woman in the Yard, in my opinion, the way I perceived it is that she's a repressed version of Ramona, played by Daniel Deadweiler, a repressed version of Ramona that's still upset about the loss of her husband. And I think she's just the Woman in the Yard. She's battling her inner self, and that's the main difference between this film and the Babadook. Yes, they both tackle grief, they both and depression, and they both have a dog in it. But like I said, that's where the comparison ends. Also, I think the cinematography in this is great. I love it. The score is very haunting and creepy, and the also this film takes place in a day. The Babadook doesn't take place in a day at all, and it's hard to do horror films in broad daylight because the element of horror is nighttime. And doing a horror film in broad daylight and keeping the interest, keeping the fans and the viewers just interested in what's going to happen next, I think it makes it a lot more interesting to see a horror film in broad daylight. So kudos to Blumhouse, especially considering how I'm not a fan of a lot of Blumhouse's films because, in my opinion, they squander their. Sorry, sorry, Nat. They squander their a lot of their films because they're poorly written for one, mediocre acting, and it's just a lot of their films have poor production written all over it. Blumhouse's film from last year, Imaginary, one of the worst films I saw last year. I think it actually ended up on my worst lists, top 10 worst movies of 2024. It was that bad. The the monsters looked like something from Five Nights at Freddy's, and I was not impressed. But with this film, I went in open minded, considering how a lot of people were bashing this film and just trying to defecate on this film to uplift the Babadook, which I think is completely unfair because, like I said, This film is the woman in the yard is a psychological being that torments the family by preying on their inner weaknesses and by turning them against each other and picking them off one by one before consuming them or trying to kill them. And the Babadook is a demonic demon that mentally and psychologically torments you before killing you. That's the main difference between the two. And also Daniel Detweiler, great performance, and Ramona, in my opinion, she the also the difference between the two films is, I think this is just my perspective after watching the film, but Ramona is battling an inner version of herself. I think the woman in the yard is her, but a repressed version of herself, and she has to fight herself, so to speak, on whether she wants to, you know, battle through her, her depression and her grief to still be there for her son Taylor and Annie and her daughter Annie, or if she wants to give into temptation, hold herself accountable, and take her own life and be with the love of her life who isn't here anymore. And in my opinion, I think this film got way too much hate, and that's a lot coming from me, like I said, because not really a Blumhouse fan like that. This film, I'm gonna give this, on a star rating, I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I enjoyed it. If you didn't like it, let me know why. I don't think it's a blatant ripoff of the Babadook. It, like I said, it only tackles grief, depression, and it has a dog. Those are the only similarities. But other than that, let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, comment, hit the follow button to stay updated with more movie, TV show, and comic book news and reviews. And until then, enjoy the rest of your week, guys.